Okay, we need to talk about WWDC because I have some big news and I'll explain why I'm in this hotel room. WWDC, the big news that I have, if you haven't seen my Tech Diary video about this, or if you don't follow me on Instagram, is that I'm going finally to can't get my words out. I'm going finally to Apple Park for WWDC on June the 8th. I'm even talking in American stuff now because on the 8th of June. I'm very, very excited, guys. I've talked about this on my second channel. We'll link to that video at the end of this one just so you can get an idea of what this means to me as an Apple person. I'm very much an Apple user and a fan, but I'm also a commentator these days. I'm on the media side and I do have to balance those two things, which is tricky sometimes. Trust me, I'd much rather be honest with you on that. It's a tricky balance, but getting the opportunity to go there to the biggest conference of the year and see it firsthand, and more importantly, report for you guys. I'm there for you. It's just so exciting. And I thought in this video, let's go through the rumors for WWDC, and they are rumors. They're completely fictional at the moment until we see what's happening in a couple of weeks' time. Let's go through them. I'll give you my honest opinion on them and you can get involved in the comments. We can talk about it. I'll get involved down there as well. We'll have some fun. And I'm going to WWDC. Anyway, let's stop being annoying and let's get into this. Let's start with iOS 27. So the first rumor is that we're getting a dedicated Siri app, which I like the sound of. And the reason I like the sound of that is because I use the dedicated Gemini app for Google and I use the Claude app for Claude, obviously. We're using AI a lot behind the scenes here. It's real. This is real, by the way. I'm not an AI generated mark. This is real. We're not using it creatively, but we are using it for just the kind of mechanics of the business behind the scenes, and it's making such a big difference. And that's got me using things like Gemini more, and the fact that you don't have a dedicated Siri app on your iPhone or on your iPad or your Mac. Okay, you've got the drop-down thing, but it's not a standalone app. And the other part of this is that Gemini will now be powering, we think, Siri. I have to say we think, because we know that Google and Apple have got this agreement together, but we don't know what's within that and what it means for Siri exactly. How much of Gemini will be in Siri? We don't know that. We may never know that. It may just be something that kind of surfaces occasionally, or who knows. But the idea of having a dedicated Siri app is an exciting one, and I think it will get us using Siri more. What else do we get apparently get in iOS 27? Extensions feature, so Siri can plug into third-party agents like ChatGPT and Claude to extend its capabilities. Let me just talk about this now. So Claude, if you've not used it before, it's another LLM, large language model, behemoth. Why do I pick words that I can't say? It's a huge and very successful in terms of user base and revenue AI system, and we use it in its agentic form, so it does stuff for us. It interacts with my Mac in the studio. We're developing tools with it. We're using the code side of it, and it's very, very, very powerful. And it saved us money. It saved us time. It's incredible. Again, it's not clear what these extensions could be, but if it means that Siri can plug into Claude and become its own kind of agentic type thing, with the power of Claude possibly and the power of Gemini, that is, again, something that would be very interesting and potentially something that would move me away from Claude. Possibly. I don't know. We'd need to see what that is. Reworked Siri UI in the dynamic island. I can't get that excited about that, but if it improves the way that we interact with Siri, fantastic. The promised personalized Siri features from WWDC 2024 are expected to ship. No idea if this is going to happen, but this is the whole thing where you can say to your phone, to your iPhone, when's mum coming? And based on emails that you've received from your mum and the flight ticket that she forwarded you, so telling you when her flight was and all that sort of stuff. It picks out all of that stuff that it's aware about your life and your relationship with your mum, and it delivers it back to you in a very coherent answer. We've not seen that yet. We saw it demonstrated and revealed, if you like, a couple of years ago, but it hasn't really fully been put into anything that we can buy from Apple, and we need it. I love the idea of that. I just think it's a massively, I just think it's a hard problem to solve, and I think the reason we haven't seen this yet is because it's very difficult. And you can't do this on any platform at the moment. If you think you can, get involved down below. But I haven't seen agentic AI like that from anyone else yet. It's just a very tricky engineering issue, and maybe it's ready. I hope it is, because that'd be fantastic. And the other thing potentially we might see with iOS 27 is the groundwork for the iPhone Ultra, which is the rumoured foldable iPhone. I made a video about this, well, published a video about this last week. You can go and check that out if you want to, but again, that is all rumour. iPadOS 27, I don't think this is going to be a big change or a big release. I think it's going to be, I always get this wrong, is it tick or tock? I think it's going to be a tock year for iPadOS. And to be honest, that's fine. I mean, the things that I've got listed here as rumours, it's expected to pick up everything that iOS 27 ships. So all of that, you know, all of the Siri stuff and whatever we get in iOS is going to end up in iPadOS 27. That's good. Sometimes we do get this thing where there's a bit of a difference between what iPadOS has and iOS has and macOS has. I want to see them converge very quickly in terms of features. I'd much rather we had everything across all of those platforms at the same time. So if that's true, that's good. iPad-specific multitasking and Apple Pencil updates expected. I'm such a dinosaur with my iPad usage. My multitasking on the iPad extends as far as having two windows side by side, and that's it. I don't do much beyond that. So what would be interesting actually this year is that if Apple does further increase the multitasking ability and the macOS likeness of iPadOS, will it make me use multitasking more? And equally, will it make me use the Apple Pencil more? Because I don't use the Apple Pencil enough. I use it to take notes occasionally, but I don't use it in anger. The only thing that does make me use it is this week's sponsor. What a segue that was. Just a very quick word from today's sponsor, which is Paperlike. This goes on to every iPad I have in this studio, which is a lot of iPads. It's basically a screen protector that does two things. Firstly, it protects that very expensive iPad display. And secondly, it makes that display feel like paper. Very difficult to get across on this video, obviously, but trust me, the first time that you use Paperlike, you will be mesmerized because it feels and sounds exactly like paper. And if you do a lot of writing, a lot of drawing, a lot of illustrating, if you do any kind of work on your iPad with an Apple Pencil, the Paperlike is an absolute must buy, and the third generation is even easier to apply. They've got this new butterfly mechanism, which means you don't get the dust that you get on lots of other screen protectors, and getting rid of those bubbles is very straightforward. If I can apply this thing, trust me, you can as well. Paperlike is a no-brainer for me, and I think it might be a no-brainer for you. Go and check out that link in the description. macOS, which is my favourite operating system of all the operating systems, we should be getting macOS 27 at WWDC, and once again the rumours are that we're going to get the same new Siri. I've said that word so many times, haven't I? I'm sorry if it's set off your device, but we should get the same functionality, and it says here tighter alignment with iOS/iPadOS, especially around AI features and app behaviour. So again, the same updates to AI functionality that we're getting potentially on the phone and the tablet. And every time we get to macOS at WWDC, I just sit there and think, it's pretty much perfect. It's so much better than Windows. If you don't agree with me, get involved in the comments, but it just is. That is a fact. And for me, WWDC and macOS, it comes down to the challenge that I give Apple to come up with something that I hadn't thought of. I don't know what it is. I never know what it is. And again, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I use my Mac as I've always used it, really. So Apple, your challenge is to put stuff into macOS 27 that will make me use it differently. watchOS 27, I'm not wearing my Apple Watch at the moment because I'm testing the Garmin, I think it's 245 Music. It's got a strange name. I'm testing that at the moment, but my regular watch is the Apple Watch, well, the Ultra version, and we're going to get apparently a redesigned watch face called the Orchid. Touch ID coming to the side button on the Apple Watch Series 12 and Ultra 4. That's a leak that has come from, it's the Germinator, of course. We can ignore that one. What's that got to do with WWDC? Nothing. More AI features on the wrist. Okay, we will wait and see what that is. But Siri on the wrist is, for as long as I can remember, has just been a way to. It's been a conduit to. I keep saying Siri. We might have to beep it out. But it's been a way of speaking to that assistant, and that's fine. I think that's enough. So once again, it comes down to Apple coming up with something that makes me want to use Siri more on my wrist. That's it. Oh, and also, apparently, we might be getting, finally, a third-party watch face store. So the idea is that you can go into an app on the Apple Watch and download third-party developed Apple Watch faces. Apple hasn't done this ever because I guess they don't really want not developers, but they don't want watch face designers to ruin the Apple Watch. And I do get that. I've tested a lot of a lot of Android-based watches, and you can very easily ruin them when you go into the third-party watch face store, whatever they're called, and start plastering these things on, which they don't look good. They might look good in the little images that the watch face designer has kind of put on to make you download it or buy it, but they never look as good as the manufacturer designed watch faces. So if Apple does this, it's quite a departure and a bit scary, but we'll see. tvOS 27. Now, we switched to the Apple TV wholesale about 4 years ago now, and we haven't looked back at all. We used to have Sky TV, which, if you're not in the UK, is the satellite TV network over there. I'm not in the UK at the moment, hence saying over there. You get the point. It's the kind of de facto TV service that most people have, and we haven't missed it whatsoever. The Apple TV has done such a good job. It is starting to get to the point where you think we need some kind of update. We need something new, either a new interface to freshen it up a bit, or those new features that are potentially coming to the rest of the operating systems. The other thing that is being rumored is possible groundwork for the new Apple TV 4K hardware. We haven't had a new Apple TV itself for a while, so if there's something in tvOS tvOS 27 that's going to make use of that would be very interesting. And then we have the possible tie to what might be a new piece of hardware, either at WWDC or later this year, which is the HomePad. It's not called the Home. It could be called anything. This is a rumor, but the HomePad is basically this rumored HomePod with a display. I won't talk any more about that because it's such a rumor, and I'm really 50-50 as to whether or not Apple is going to release one of those. But if it does, then in theory, it would have to have some very nice tie-ins with the Apple TV, I think. So maybe we'll see that, maybe not. We're rifling through this, aren't we? So, visionOS 27. Do you use visionOS? Do you have a Vision Pro? I'd love to know, because I've got one, and the only other people that I know who have Vision Pro are YouTubers like myself, and it's such a hard platform to talk about. Like any virtual reality or mixed reality, AR, whatever you want to call it, like any device like that, talking about it in videos like this is incredibly tricky because you can't really see it on that side of the fence. You know, you have to have that thing strapped to your head to see it, and it's still very expensive. It's still very heavy. The use case for it is it's not there at the moment because it's not a widespread way of using a computer. It isn't, and Apple is still kind of suggesting that this is the future of computer use, and I think it is. I genuinely think it is, but I don't think it's going to be widespread until we get to this size, this weight, this price. And for that reason, visionOS is still very much a forward-thinking, literal look into the future. visionOS 26, by the way, was a superb update, and it did get me using Vision Pro more, but I need more excuse and more reason to use it. So this time in iOS 27, again, the Gemini rumored powered might be involved in this as well on Vision Pro, which would be fantastic. But they're also talking potentially about face gestures. Interesting. How do you do that? Dwell control as a new eye-based selection method. So some of this is going to be the way that you interact with visionOS is going to evolve, I guess, in terms of doing things with your eyes and your hands, I guess, and whatever else. Wheelchair control via eye tracking, that sounds incredible. Apple are so good. They're so forward-thinking in terms of the accessibility stuff. So anything like that is just very, very interesting and could change things for a lot of people in terms of making the most of this bit of kit. However, we're not expecting to see any new Vision Pro hardware at WWDC, which that's to be expected, I think, really. But it does bring me on to the hardware question and whether or not we'll see anything new at WWDC. Right, hardware and WWDC. This is never guaranteed because it's a developer conference. It's about the operating systems and it's about software. So hardware isn't guaranteed. However, Apple does normally release something. I think there's been 1 or 2 years where they haven't done that. But this year, potentially, we might see the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio both get the M5 chip. That would be a huge step forward for both those platforms, both those Macs, because the M5 chip is incredible. The M5 MacBook Air is amazing. The M5 iPad Pro, stupidly powerful. So if you've been waiting to buy a Mac Mini or a Mac Studio, if we get the M5 chip in that in a couple of weeks and you can buy it shortly after, happy days. The only slight problem is the supply chain. You would not want to be a manufacturer at the moment. It's still horrendous out there when it comes to getting components, particularly memory, that sort of stuff. So who knows? It's a bit of an unknown quantity, but I do think we'll see the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio updated, and that's a good thing. This hotel room, honestly, it's made it a very different video, and if you've got this far in this video, thank you so much. You must be a true fan of this channel, or you're just very interested in WWDC this year. I wouldn't blame you at all. If I could pick any WWDC to go to, it would be this one, and I'm so lucky to be going. I really am, and I will be taking you along with me, obviously, on that journey. Make sure you hit subscribe and do all that stuff not to miss those videos. But it's over to you now. Get involved down there. Let me know what you think about the potential rumors about WWDC, and also, what do you want to see? Forgetting those rumors, what do you want Apple to do to the iPhone, to your Mac, to your iPad, to your Apple TV, to your Apple Watch? Get involved. I will as well. Make sure to hit subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.